Well, hello. Welcome.
Hey, we're
Hello, friend.
here.
Yay. All right. So,
Yay.
have
We are in a different
William.
account today.
We
Yeah.
have William already talking to us. So
Oh,
we're gonna
we
we're
made
gonna take a look
fun.
at that.
Yeah.
But hi. So we are lacking Alexandria today because she's in Chicago, Penn Show.
Lucky.
She might come on at some point, but for now it's just all three of us. But I think we're still a good setup for tonight. So
Yes.
Abigail, she's back because I need to ask her more questions. And Kari, who did not make it to Chicago, is here as well.
Oh my God, I'm home.
So what happened?
Let me tell you exciting things. So I'm not going to Chicago, not because I don't want to. It's because I can't. So many good things happening around here. I was invited at the University of Sherbrooke to give a lecture about goal settings and how goal settings affect sports and effectiveness and productivity, and how these goals in sports can be used in real life and in any setting in life. So that's my lecture. And I'm going to be involved in some of the activities happening on the weekend. And it's a great opportunity for me, kind of professionally, to do this workshop. But at the same time, exciting to do something really in my field, It's really nice.
So you had to make a choice.
Sad not to be in Chicago. Good for my pockets, though.
Yeah, because you only buy at the Penn Show, right? You don't.
I only buy in
do
person,
online.
so saving some of those dollars for Montreal, which is at the end of the month, not too far from now. And yeah, those are my news. What about you guys? How was your week? What are the plans for the weekend? Any new products from, I know somebody here that creating magic as we speak.
Wow. She's being slow, but she's being a little modest because she just released a few more pens.
I saw. That's why I'm asking. We need to see those guys. Carola says hi.
Hello.
Oh,
Yes. Well, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do the unboxing because I got your pen.
oh, let's do that.
All right. So, ta-da! I kind of pre-opened it. I'm sorry. All right. So I got this. Abigail sends you out her pens in this packaging.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's got to survive shipping.
Yay, unboxing. Yes. So,
Unboxing time. That's so exciting.
I was worried about shipping.
So here she is.
Goodness, that's so beautiful.
That's the Bebe and Impressionist spring, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got the elastic.
Wow.
Yeah, you let me pick.
Yes, I did. I'm very excited about this. This is fun. Thank you.
No, thank you. Are you putting
So we have to make Abigail.
Yep. Kari's having a bit of a internet trouble today for people.
I know, I missed it.
Joining.
You use? Yeah, I have internet issues. My question about the elastic nib that you have, is it a Yobo? Yobo?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. It's their Flexus. It has an EF and an F.
That's really good.
Yeah, I like them. I wrote with an F that I custom ground because I could for better part of a year.
Oh,
so
very nice. And this resin that Marina just showed is really gorgeous, like Carola says. Beautiful, really beautiful.
And so Abigail just made a couple more.
The body. I saw some of the posts that you did in Instagram. If anybody wants to go check Instagram, Abigail's Instagram, and lots of beautiful stuff over there. Yeah, tempting, my friend.
That
I know
Stuff
you.
that takes time.
What's
Yeah,
that?
Stuff that takes time. We're like
I'm
talking about it.
That resin though is so much fun to cast because it's like 5 or 6 different pigments. They're all custom mixed. And then when you turn it, that blue thins out just the right amount, and so it flashes like the labradorite does, the stone. And I love it. There's just something about the way it
Very nice.
layers over the pink and the green. You're like,
Yeah, I recommend people go check that in your Instagram. Like probably in person is a different thing. Marina, what is your experience like when you?
When I see it, yeah, I would say, but that's the thing. It's very hard to photograph something like that.
Yeah, I
It's the same with
understand.
ceramics. You know, when I photograph my ceramics, it's just, I think anything that it has a shine in it, it's really hard, you know. And this one has like so many different things in it,
But
right? And my lighting is not great.
it's like
I
the
really like
raku
it.
firing,
Very,
you know?
Yeah, that's true.
very
Raku.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
There's
I
that
like
color
the shape that you have is completely different from other pens that I have. I like this kind of like delicate tapered at the end, you know, feel. I need a pen like that.
I think we talked about it. It's done so it balances right in the front of your hand when you're writing, so it doesn't sit towards the back. It was one of those things.
I love it. Very
And
nice.
they're kind of long, but they don't feel that heavy to me.
Suzette is here, my friend.
Hello, Suzette.
Yay, Suzette is here.
Woohoo!
We need to invite Suzette one day. Suzette, would you come to our show one day? Suzette is a person that actually does scrapbooking, journaling, and creative journaling. And she also writes with fountain pens and stuff. We need to invite Carola also. Carola.
Yeah, Carola is great.
An
She's a
amazing
friend
artist.
of mine too.
Oh.
She is absolutely great. Carola and I will have a live next week. So we do these
very
creative
nice.
lives.
So we need to start booking people for every meeting. We need to have lots of creative people that writes with fountain pen, and then of course artistic people too. You know, like we want to have like a different point of view of the fountain pen world. Yay! The live is coming. So we were showing Abigail's pen for those on the Just Connected. I want to show you some of the pens that I have here. They are not Abigail's, but you know, let's shout out some other people. I have a Florida pen. This one is Right Turns, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
And this is beautiful. I like purple, and purple and ivory is the best. This is a kind of a celluloid body. So it's really beautiful. And then of course he cast the metal part too.
And you got it at the show, right?
Yeah, I got it in person at the show. This is another pen maker that I would like to shout out. This is also a different type of purple, but this is a darker black and purple. This it's a Hardy Pen Writes. And actually, I want to show you up close the metallic insert that it has also. They actually make metallic pens. And right now, well, Greg passed away. I don't know if you remember this year, but the family is continuing the business, and they have beautiful pens too. This one has also, I think this one is Bock. Yes, this one is a Bock nib. And of course, I need more pens, so be patient. Bear with me. I was thinking about Chicago Pen Show. Chicago is happening, so I thought maybe I can show something that I got at Chicago. This is an Atlas stationers limited kind of like to their shop. It's not limited edition, but they still have in stock. But it's a pen that they release, a Benu pen that they release. And it's really magnificent. I love it. With all the sparkles.
We like the sparkles.
And okay, so this is completely random. And you know that I love art and I like to paint with brushes. So this one is a Chinese calligraphy brush fountain pen. So the body is just a regular, kind of like a brush body. But when you open it, it has a brush pen inside.
Oh, nice.
When you open it,
So wait, is it refillable?
yeah.
I was about to ask.
Ta-da! So I
Nice.
have a permanent sepia here by Platinum. And it works really well. Let me show you. Sorry. So like this, and then if you go thicker, you can get a thicker line. It's really nice.
I do not need more pens. I do not need more pens.
I'm not going to tell you the price, but you know that Chinese pens are more affordable than some other pens. Anyways, the body
was
is
the brand of
metallic.
that?
So
Sorry,
yeah.
what was the brand name?
Brandless.
Brandless name. So wait,
Maybe I do need more
where did
pens.
you get it?
I got it in Amazon. So
So if you should just
Canada.
look at brush pan or
Yeah.
something like that.
brush calligraphy pens and lol Carola. No need more pens. Yeah. Those are the pens that I have right now. And the fun brush pen that I thought it was kind of like a great find
Yeah.
for my art. And it actually works so well. I'm surprised.
You can't put
Get another one to
pigment
put the
in.
black ink. Pigmented ink.
All right.
Can you put pigmented in it? Would it
It's
ruin
like
it?
the permanent. I don't think so.
All right.
For the price that I pay for this pen, I'm willing to try.
There.
So
It
there.
can't be any worse than I'm
We'll
doing
have
with my
it.
brushes.
Ooh, Julia's here. Hi.
Yay, Julia.
I love Julia. Yeah, so
We're all
I'll
here.
go very quickly because I have Michaela White Bear Pen's pen on me.
Hey, Michaela. Yes.
So I had to have another maker and another one I love. I showed her pens to a friend of mine who just started with her fountain pens. It was like the live I did on Friday. And she was like, could not believe that people make her like their own pens. And it was like, she was like immediately attracted to this.
Yes.
Another thing, well, these are boring. But I've been
Not.
using, since you've been like showing your stuff.
These are not boring. Look at that pen. Mont Blanc.
So,
These
my
are
very
boring.
fancy-
Yeah, so boring.
so boring, but fancy 0.9 very thick lead.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I can like do my
I love it.
pottery stuff.
Nice.
Fancy.
So
So
that's the
bougie.
one. Another one is Forever Ever because I've been just into it. My Stipula.
Yeah,
You've
stipula
seen it?
pens are lovely.
I love this thing. And my discovery has been that Mont Blanc apparently makes nib cleaners.
Oh,
Really?
So that is fun. So this is how it looks. It's just
And
like
then
you
you-
stick the nib in there
Okay.
and then it kind of cleans it. But
Are
I
you
mean,
not afraid to ruin that?
no, I mean it's made from Mont Blanc in general, but like You have to be gentle, obviously. But I discovered they have these because I've always used these different, like Esterbrook had released those oval ones or round ones. So I've had something like that from like a European store that I've always used and abused. And then I realized that there is a different option for these guys. So that's my discovery of the week.
Yeah, I was about to say, how do they work?
So let me, because I need to clean it anyway. It's like a little, like a sock for your nib. I don't know how to explain, but let's clean it. All right. So, little nib cleaner, and say I have a gunk on my nib. I don't know if I do, but yeah, you're just gonna go in there, like gently, kind of pull it out of there, and that should clean it. And then there's like the streak inside, and you are like allowed to use this like 5 or 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
How much is it?
I do not remember, but I think the pack of 20, no, I'm sorry, 8 was like 6, I think. I bought it in European stores, so like €6, I think.
Okay.
So I thought it was fun. I was like, I'm going to try this.
That's good. It's actually a sock for
A
you.
sock. It is. Isn't that cute though?
It's going to keep your hands cleaner than paper towels.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not the only one. Right?
Oh my God, that comment from Julia. Yes, size 9 mechanical pencils are my life. This is the size 9 I have at the moment, but I have other mechanical pencils. This one is 0.9.
Nice.
0.9. The other one, actually, I have it here. I have so much stuff going on. This one I showed before. That's another mechanical.
Nice.
This one is thicker than 9. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, it's thicker.
Yeah, mechanical pencils are just pencils in general. That's like a whole different story you're drawing, right? It's like it's
collecting pencils. Mechanical pencils are beautiful. I think I need more of those. I have some from the 80s. I have these vintage ones. I think mechanical pencils is another rabbit hole that people can go.
Oh yeah. All right, Abigail, what's on your desk?
Not the mechanical pencil I wish was on my desk. I have one of the ones from Spoke, Brad's company. Love that pencil. I think I have a 0.7, but it's got the titanium inverted flared grip. And it's
very nice.
Pretty much the only thing I use for technical drawings now. It's fantastic. It's just a little heavier. I have one of the standard Draftsman yellows, but it's too lightweight. I end up throwing it across the room. So on my desk is the wall I'm still writing with. I've got one still in progress, one of the fishy pens. I've got my Mont Blanc set.
Ooh, you need a show and tell.
So, I mean, there's just the standard. This was given to me, so this is not one I purchased. This is the ballpoint. These are all minis, right?
Nice.
This one is so cool, and I need to use it more, but I don't. This is the largest pen in the set.
Bohème.
Yes,
it's a mini Bohème.
Yes, this is a fine liner.
Wow, that's cool.
Yes, I'm dead serious. I was like, that's the coolest thing ever.
Love that.
But the one that actually does get used is this one, and it just kind of lives out of the box. Is this one? And I mentioned this last time, I think.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, La Bohème. So cool.
It's the retractable. I have disassembled this to figure out how they made it at least twice. I love them.
I love that.
So I have this little set, and it's like my fancy pen set.
Yeah. So
Um,
fancy and so vintage too. They are like unique.
They
They
came
are.
in again. Like I think they have like people forgot about them, and now they're kind of back in fashion,
I-
right?
I have no idea. I was given the set. Someone didn't want it. They're like, "Here, have it." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Do you know who this is?" The only other thing I have on my desk, I had to repair. I had to do. So I have one of the Snow Queens back, just really fast.
I like
Um,
that.
This is the snow globe piece. I had to do a small repair on this,
Oh,
right?
so
So this
cool.
is,
I love
but
that.
that's the other thing. I just finished fixing it. And this is
Nice.
where the nib is.
So
made.
is there enough space for cartridge converter, or is it like
So what I did on this
mini?
one, I don't think I'm going to stick with this if I rework it. I'm not sure I'm going to offer these again. There's actually an ink dropper refill, but the problem
Oh,
that a collector pointed out, because this was my my art tier Patreon pen, so it's like my experimental stuff. They pointed out that when you fill with an ink dropper, there's no seal here. It comes out the nib. The ink leaks. So you have to fill and then reseal really fast. Otherwise, it leaks on you. I'm like, yeah, I don't like that either. So, but this is one of the art pens, and I just had to reseal a little part here. So it didn't,
okay.
because
It's a very beautiful pen to see all the snow globe kind of movement. It's such a unique pen.
it
I
was
think
such
it's
a
a
pain.
collector piece. When you see it, it's like a collector piece. Do you want to put ink on it? Maybe not. It's a good pen to have on display for sure.
Oh yeah, I've got to make one more at least to take for my own collection because I want one. Just so and so I could take it to Orlando bench and be like, look, I made it. But it was such a pain to figure out. And also this, I didn't really tell anybody about this, but it does post.
Oh,
It was such a pain to figure out, like, okay, how am I going to get enough space in a pen and the ink in a pen and actually put a liquid? And the snowflakes were this laser cut metal that fell so much faster through water than the glitter did. The glitter stayed suspended nicely. And so I had to sit there with like methyl cellulose and glycerin and adjust the viscosity of the water so everything fell at the right rate. It took me like a week. But
sorry. I just need to steal a little bit of your brain so I can get some creative vibes here.
I mean, there are makers, and then there's Abigail. So you know.
I am crazy, but that's what's on my desk, plus random stickers and headphones and digital calipers.
Oh,
But yeah,
very nice.
All right, you guys. Do we want to come back to that first question we got so we can get that off?
Really can.
Did you guys look it up? Did you see how it looks?
I couldn't actually look up because of my internet situation, but
well,
what is it? Maybe a new kind of a.
So what it is? It's a stripy, stripy.
No,
new Pelican. So let's see if I can show it.
Oh,
it is the M805. So it's a bigger one. The interesting part about this one is that it has an ink window, like a proper ink window, because I think the complaint for a lot of people has been that you can no longer see through the stripes like you used to. And my speculation my speculation is they just can't probably make the same material as they used before. No. So I think they might have heard about complaints and decided this is the way to go.
Yeah. So. The Pelican I have was one of the last ones that they fabricated with the transparent stripe. So when you put it against the light, you can see the ink inside. But you're right. After that, all the new models, you cannot see through the pen and the stripes of the Suveran. So I don't know. Just having the window, it might be something that some people like.
All right, sure. Yeah, I will do so. I will drop it in the chat. Just a sec.
Abigail's website. Yes.
Yep. All right.
That's nice. I want to talk a little bit about this paper that I got. I went to one of those stores, kind of dollar stores, but they have different brands and different stuff. I got this pad, and this is made in Indonesia, but it's fountain pen friendly, and it's super, super soft. And I cannot believe there is no ghosting, no shattering, no nothing with the fountain pen. Really. It's yellow though. But great find for $2. $2 Canadian is probably less than $1 in the US. And these pads, same brand, Spec Selectum is the brand. And they are fountain pen friendly too. And I just used permanent ink on that one. Look, no ghosting, nothing.
Wow. Good find.
It's really good. So
That's
those
impressive.
are kind of good finds. Sometimes you never know what you're going to find. I was after school the other day, I was like, oh my God, I need a pad really quick. I left everything at home. I was like going crazy. I go to this store and get this pad, and it was like, oh, I'm going back actually to get more paper.
At that price, yeah.
For $2.
Nice. Get all the paper.
All the paper.
On that note, we wanted to talk about everyone's experience with inks and how magical we find inks to be and how different. On different papers, on different nibs, even. Like there are inks that work differently in different, what we've noticed, different pens, right? And different scents. Abigail's here to give her perspective as a maker of inks. She used to make inks.
I have opinions. They're not always friendly.
You really do.
So how long did you spend over the past years? I don't know, when you started making inks until you decided I'm not making more inks. So what happened and your experience overall about the production of ink and stuff and experimenting with those?
I started making inks because I was struggling to find brands that were ethically appealing. And also that made the colors that I wanted. I've been making my own paint and art mediums for over a decade. So it's like, okay, what's one more art medium, right? I did not make and sell ink for very long, maybe a year. And the big reason I was telling you guys this before was that between pen making and ink making, the customer service side of the ink making was getting challenging. There were a lot of people who had very stronger than mine, opinions on ink. And I didn't feel like I could be a good customer service type person for the ink while also making pens. So I chose to make pens because I can troubleshoot a pen better than I can help somebody troubleshoot an ink. Does that make, like, you know what I mean? Because with an ink, like you guys were saying, your nib matters, your pen matters, your humidity matters, your paper matters, the force you're writing with matters, how much pressure you're applying with your pen, the speed you're writing. I mean, all of these factors matter. Whether or not you've cleaned your nib recently matters. What you cleaned your nib with matters. If you diluted the ink, if it's from the top of the bottle, the bottom of the bottle, all of it mattered. And I kind of hit a point where I was spending so much time talking to people about, like, I can't walk you through every possible combination between paper, pen, and ink, and I can't use all these. I'm not Carrie. I don't have all the pens. I can't test them all, and so it was this experience of I had to choose between supporting my pens or supporting the ink, and so I chose the pens. Though I had a field day making the ink. I loved the chemistry of the formulations of mixing the dyes. I took more notes than was sane. I still probably have a couple hundred bottles left in storage that I probably should put up on the website one of these days. I just haven't. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yes.
It does. It does. Like there's inks I will not put in certain pens because I know they don't play well. Like the little Mont Blanc only handles so many inks, and it's picky.
Yeah.
Whereas
Well,
the wall, I'm throwing shimmers in it.
Yeah.
And your inks are shimmering or
no?
I
did no shimmer inks because at that point in time I was still writing with EF nibs, and so I made. My goal was to make an ink that dried as fast as possible without drying on the nib itself, and I got pretty close. I had a couple of formulas. One ended up being a much more wet nib. Like it took a while to dry on TR, to the Tomoe River, but it did fine on like Archer and Olive. Like it was soaked. So it was an ink that soaked in more than floated and dried.
And I think that's the thing that you can't control, the paper. That's it's such a like tense variable, and it's so different from a
we were talking about like even batch to batch, the paper varies. You know, you can't troubleshoot it.
Exactly.
And
but I do like a wet ink, and some people, they don't have the patience to wait and they have to work with the pen, and some people work with fountain pen. But because I have that patience and I say, you know, if the ink is wet, you need to deal with it by waiting and being patient, because this is a hobby that demands a lot of resilience. You know, you get dirty, you get messy, you have smashes.
Ankle in my hand,
inky fingers, but you have to also be patient that not all the products are the same, and not every product will react the same way or the ideal way. No, you know, there are no ideals.
Exactly.
So that's
and
it. It's
you go in, it's like it's a new discovery, it's an adventure. That's the fun.
And as someone who makes pens, how do you feel, I don't know, sheening and shimmering inks? Because I know quite a few manufacturers just put like, no, you should not use that in your pen. Like, how do you feel? Like, should you?
My inks weren't shimmer because in an EF they clog, and I tend to write with a finer nib unless I'm writing with the flex. And like this one right here is a super flex. It's bouncy as all get out, and I've used almost exclusively shimmer and sheens, and I'm talking the heavy ones. And it handles it just fine. I think that's one of the things that you need to know how to clean your pen, because it's going to need cleaning. The shimmer and the glitter and the mica, it's going to get clogged. You're going to need to know how to clean it. And if you're willing to clean it, have a field day. Go for it. But I would recommend at least a medium nib. Otherwise, you're not going to get any of the glitter out. Shake well and fill from the bottom.
Question. Someone who formulated inks, could you explain the sheening to us? Because I'm still new to the sheen.
So if I'm understanding the terminology the way everybody else uses it, you have like the glitter and the shimmer, and that's just sparkles, right? It's a gold, it's a silver, it's a whatever. Sheening, my understanding, is an ultra fine. We're talking really fine, like a mica or a pigment, right? It's a very lightweight pigment. You'll notice it settles. It to the bottom of your bottles, right? That's how you know it's not a dye. Most fountain pen inks are dyes, which means they're soluble in water. They completely dissolve. They will not clog because they're fully dissolved in your water. With the sheens and the shimmers, it is actually pigmented. That's why they don't always recommend it in your fountain pens. But they're typically a fine enough pigment that it won't clog too badly. You clean it, right? A sheen tends to be one that only shows when the light hits from certain directions. And so you notice when you tilt your paper, you change your direction, right? That's like the blue in the pen. It's that kind of effect, right? So that's what you're looking at. Sheen. If I'm understanding it, when I was playing with it briefly, that's how I was getting my effect.
And also, but like feeds get really stained, like with sheen. I've noticed big time.
Yeah, it's a pigment. The ink dries on it, it sticks. You have to know how to clean your pen. And once it's especially if it's like a plastic feed, one of the more plastic feeds, the porousness, because the pigment size is so small, it gets in the little tiny holes and you're stained. Good luck getting that out.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's the science behind that one.
Yeah, that's super interesting because for my knowledge, and I've been using lots of inks, I like all those shimmers and sheening inks. I think they are super fun, but I don't have many shimmer or sheening inks in extra fine nibs, for example. I always go for the stub nibs or the double broad or broad.
Right. The reason why that works is because the pigment, you have to have enough ink down for it to sit on the paper. And with a tiny little nib, they don't pool up enough. And that's why there's someone in chat was saying the coated papers when they dry slower, because it gives time for the pigment to set on the paper and then it dries and locks in. And that's why you get the effect more.
Yeah, coated paper dries slower. I agree.
But that's just because the pigment has a time to settle and lay flat together, and you get the pools.
Yes.
But you get the pretty pools,
Yes.
Yeah.
The pools are shiny. It's kind of like, have you ever tried, this is going to be so weirdly technical. Have you ever tried to put like gold powder in a wax, like a gold candle? And then, okay, maybe the whole candle's gold, but it's only like gold on the outside, right? Where they burnished it. And that's because the shiny surfaces have all been lined up in the right same direction until light bounces off. When the reflective surface of the particles are all in different directions, like in the middle of the candle, it's just kind of yellow. So that's what's happening when the sheen or the shimmer dries on your paper. If you give it time to lay flat, let it take some time to dry, coated, you get the pretty shades.
Yes. The only ink I have issues with the sheen is the Lamy that was released last year. Remember the Lamy Lilac?
Julia.
Hey, Julia. So the Lamy Lilac is pure sheen. You cannot see any color except for the sheen. It's only sheen. So you write with
Which one? The old one or the new one?
No, the new one. The new one. It's just sheen. It's like sheen. And I have it in a broad nib in a Lamy pen. And it gets this kind of gunk on the top of the nib that I have to clean. Maybe I should get the Mont Blanc
cleaner. You want a little sock?
Lamy.
I can get you one.
Fountain pen sock.
I have 8. You can have one.
The tip, I always have to clean it at the beginning because it's like only the tip, there is this little ball of sheen.
Yep. But that's a beautiful
the only ink I struggle, but it's a very dark ink and the sheen is beautiful, but it's only sheen. You cannot see the difference between ink and sheen, like for example, I have Vinta inks that are fantastic with lots of sheen, that you see the ink and then the border of sheen, that's it. But the Lamy one is, you're right, it's sheen, sheen, sheen.
I don't need it. I don't need it.
I want the shading aspect of the ink.
Shading is so pretty.
That says, all right. All right. Very opal.
I have to say that some red inks and orange inks, they do that, and I don't know why. Fire opal, I have to agree, I have the same ink, but it's such a great color. I just clean the nib and continue writing with it. It's a pretty kind of a dark orange brick color. It's beautiful.
Ooh.
Fire opal.
Oh, so that says it crystallizes.
Yes. No, but William with the comment. Now we can say that the nib hookers. We say that in.
Yeah, it's official. It's
so funny.
Aw. Yep. I agree with that. It does sound better.
There was an episode that Alexandra did with Claire, and they were talking about and actually, Marina, you were there. They were talking about the inks, and you actually did a very thorough. Which one is your favorite one on each color? I cannot believe you were able to decide one on each color. I cannot decide. It's really hard to choose color. I don't have that many all inks. The inks, sorry. All the colors.
I have a lot of inks, but I don't have as many as you have, or Alexandra has, or most of our community has. Yeah, I'm exclusive with Mont Blanc. I have a lot of their stuff. I do have some problems with their stuff, but most of it is safe, except for permanent. Permanent is not a good formulation. And apparently Alexandra has told that someone in the boutique advised her not to use permanent ink in like Mont Blanc pen, because I guess they will be reworking the formulation. Who knows? But it's just not great. I've tried it for sketching, and it just doesn't even come close to my Detrimentus.
Oh, that's
other inks. So, so I usually have Mont Blanc. I have like select stuff. Like I'm very particular what I buy because I don't have a lot of space.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm able to tell you what I like, because I don't have a huge selection of things.
Yeah. For me, it's really hard to choose, like there are so many light variations of pink or purple or orange. How can you choose the orange or the
right
pink?
Oh, Mont Blanc has great orange, but they don't produce it anymore. Lucky Orange, one of the best ones. For me, I think it's also because I make paint, I perceive colors differently, and once I figured out that ink is not quite the same as watercolor, and some colors are much better in watercolor than they are in ink. Like pinks, I have a big problem with pinks and inks. Like it's terrible. I love it in watercolor. You can get a lot of awesome variation, like Potter's pink, and it's going to look great in your painting. But if I want to write with pink, there is not a lot of options that are going to be viable.
Yeah.
Inks,
no, they're like barely there.
Yep.
Like it's like you diluted a red.
Yeah. I like to experiment with those handmade inks. I find that they are so much fun. They have a different formula. All the inks that I bought, like there is an ink maker here in Montreal that I got inks from her. There is also people from Papier Plume that they make their own inks. You, Abigail, you make your own inks. There is Delirium also. They make their own inks. So there are so many inks that I like that are different, but at the same time, different formulas. You talk about the Mont Blanc, and I try Mont Blanc ink because they are super reliable and they have this kind of consistency that is different. But I always like the idea of experimenting with other sorts of making and ink making.
Yeah. And I have a question about the formulation, like without revealing your secret formula. Like how'd you figure out your consistency?
I spent some time, not kidding, reading patent applications for printer ink. And went through, I have some chemistry background, and I went through, all of they don't give you the recipe per se, the formula, but they will tell you the chemicals that they're applying for patents, and went down every Wikipedia rabbit hole related to those chemicals. I have cosmetic experience as well, and so a lot of the ones that they were using I was already somewhat familiar with, like glycols, glycerin. I mean, most fountain pen inks, the foundation is distilled water and glycerin. That's it.
Yeah.
Consistency is typically controlled by methyl cellulose, which is easy to get a hold of. You just have to be very, very careful and very, very patient, because that stuff takes a while to gel up. And if you put too much in, I found this out the hard way, you'll end up with gel instead of ink. You can dilute it, but it doesn't work the same. And so it's just one of those. I read about all the ingredients used in screen printing, printer printed ink. So like what that you use in inkjets. Because there's not a lot out there for the big ink companies, right? But you can kind of get a feel for how the formulas start. And then you just sit there. And I went 1 milliliter at a time, adjusting each ingredient one at a time. Then I'd test, I'd watch dry, I'd watch pigment, ink, like the dye, the way it's just like dissolved, all that. I just went through. I have a book of tests for the formula. And it took me about a week to figure out for each formula.
It's full research.
A lot of research.
But super interesting also, because you also are familiar with the pigments, and the colors, because of you making your own paints and stuff. And how did you decide in a certain color scheme? Like when you're creating the inks, do you have like that is the color that I'm going to use, that number of pigment? Or you want to mix a little bit?
Because many, many, many years ago, almost 20 years ago, I was in fiber arts professionally. So I'm familiar with how to dye fibers. And I'm like, okay, fountain pen inks are dyes, no big deal. I already know how to mix from primaries with dyes. And primary in dye isn't red, green, blue. It's printer primary, which is cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. So what I did is I went to my dye suppliers and I'm like, I want these primaries and I want them in bulk. Please ship them to me. And so they did. And I sat there and I'm like, okay, because I remember how to mix these to get the colors I want this color. I want it in dye. I want it in ink. And so I just sat there and I mixed color after color for fun. And my naming scheme, only a handful of people ever caught on to what I was naming my inks. And it was all things that could hurt you. Poisonous plants, toxins.
I think, right? You had some mushrooms there too, from what I remember.
So cool.
So it was a lot of fun. Everything was like either something that hurt you or could kill you, like Aqua Tofana, which was one of my favorite, like aqua blues. Technically, the poison's clear, but you're not writing with the clear ink.
That's amazing. Great story
so
too.
It does. So, but I would just sit there and mix from primaries, because why not? You get exactly what you want.
Yeah.
It's like, I want this blue, but I don't want it that green, or I don't want it that purple, or I want it slightly more transparent, or I want it not so transparent. You just sit there and you mix, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You must list
I want
soon.
that ink.
People want it. I want it. Like I missed out because I got a little sample of yours and then you stopped selling them.
I will try to go through and count what's holding me back. So I have to do a full inventory count, and there's probably a couple hundred bottles on the shelf. I have to count them all.
Yeah, and
We need
probably
to
shipping
count
is a
them.
little tricky, right? Because
What's that?
Shipping would be a little bit tricky, right, with that stuff.
I did a tissue paper wrap and then had boxes.
Oh,
And so it
okay.
shipped really nicely.
Mm.
I did not have a single bottle break. Sometimes I would like electrical tape the lids just so they wouldn't leak. But
Oh my
yeah,
goodness. Now I want all the inks that you have, like all the colors. Okay, one on each color. I want.
I didn't have that many. I had like 6 colors, I think, maybe 7.
Whoa, 6 is a lot.
I mean, like my favorite, I loved Aqua Tofana because it was this big, super beautiful, transparent, like aqua blue. And I don't remember where I first saw that blue, but I fell in love with it, and then I could never find it again. I was like, I'm just
Okay.
here.
You created the ink. That's so fantastic.
How else do we really get started on creative projects? It's like, oh, I want to see this thing exist in the world. I mean, you think about your watercolor palettes, you think about all the things you make. You're just like, I want to see this exist in the world, and it doesn't exist, and so I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it is. That was the same thing with me, because like I came back to watercolor painting, and I was like, everything they sell is plastic,
right?
Or if it's porcelain is going to be expensive, but also not pretty. So yeah, that's like we create what we want to see, right?
Exactly. The necessity is the mother of invention, that kind of thing. It's like, well, but sometimes it's just not even necessity. It's, I just want it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, like something that has been forgotten, you know, like
right?
People used to make things more intentionally, I feel like, and it was like, you know, fewer things, but maybe more beautiful, more meaningful to them.
Exactly.
Like,
right. Like I'm doing my own, these are my prototypes for wax stamps, my for like
very nice.
wax seals. And it's like with a 3D printer nowadays, there's not a lot you can't do.
Yeah.
It's like
you can do lots of stuff. I think we just need to be a little bit more bored in life to get things going.
Oh yeah.
And that what makes everything possible. I always say,
I mean, during pandemic,
time
picked up skills.
Boom.
Yeah, boredom is a gateway to creativity.
Yeah.
Humans don't like being bored.
We are so attached to the cell phone or to the electronics that we don't have time to get bored. We are like constantly over-informed and over-stimulated. Just stop with that for a second, quiet your mind, and you will be like, oh, and that was me yesterday without electricity and without internet. So I was like, oh, you know what? Let's do that. And I said, you know, we have like a little gas kitchen. I started cooking and creating some recipes out of all the things that we had. And I was like, you know, it's been a while and I cook often, but we are in a rush without creating anything. Like, boredom. And yeah, there you have it.
The space to not be distracted, you know, even if you're not necessarily bored, to just have the time to go, oh, hey, that sounds like fun. I'm going to go do that.
Yeah.
And to not have anybody go, oh, but you need to look at this, or you need to think about this, or you need to be aware of this, or did you miss this?
Right.
Just to kind of be on your own and not be talked at all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of what I like about living way out in the middle of nowhere is there's nobody here.
I think Helen of Monster, what was it? Coffee Monster Co., right?
Coffee Monster Co.
So she had this interview and I didn't know about her. I didn't know. I started watching this interview she had. I don't remember, was it Apple Boom or someone else? But one of her things that I really liked and I could relate to, she literally turns everything off. Like she has a phone on if she creates, like when she creates.
Oh,
And
wow.
that is very cool. I thought it was cool because not a lot of people can do it nowadays.
Mhm.
Yeah. We always have something going on. Like if I have an audiobook on or if I have music on, it's we need a little quiet, I think, to shut those thoughts, and then not thoughts, like it shut the music or the cell phone, whatever noise that we get, and
Mhm.
then be like in our own thoughts and try. I think I got the most inspired actually when I was quiet. I like writing, and most of the ideas comes when there is nothing going on. Like,
Yep.
oh,
No, it's the same way. My most productive, creative, like thinking time, I get in the bathtub and I turn the lights off, and there's like no phone. And I'm staring at a dark ceiling. And it's like I get all of my good ideas there.
yeah,
Like I work out
fantastic.
all of my problems.
Yeah,
So there's something about just not having any external input to be able to pay attention to all of the stuff that goes on in your head, and it's like it
yeah,
eventually settles out and the ideas that you really want to think about come up.
This
yeah.
is interesting. And I know people who have the same thing. If it's too quiet, my mind gets too active.
Mhm.
That's like a lot of people having trouble falling asleep because, like, you think about the events of the day, right? Or like you suddenly start having ideas. Like, I know people who keep notepad next to their bed, and you just like
That's me. In
you
the
do that.
middle of the night, I have to take note because something happens. And
Mhm.
ah,
Yeah, if you don't need a whole lot of time, you're talking what, 15 minutes of meditation of just being like, okay, I'm going to sit here and pay attention to the stuff going on in my head. It's not about like not having anything going on in your head. It's about having the space to pay attention to what's going on in your head first without everything else pulling you away from your own self.
Yeah.
Carola
I
says that the best ideas on the treadmill.
Yeah, same for me walking. I don't do
Yep.
treadmill, but I walk a lot. Like I walk
Yeah.
2-ish miles a day. And it's just like that's when I get the best things, kind of.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I call that mindful walk because sometimes when we walk, and this is kind of the lecture that I give, is like when we are active, we get the best things out of the activity.
Oh, yeah.
You're moving, and by the way, moving changes the chemical environment inside your body,
Yeah.
and your cells are kind of triggering chemicals reactions inside the cell that releases lots of dopamine. So
Mhm.
when you walk, you for sure have great ideas. So it's incredible. And then shower, the same thing. You're showering, you're calming down, this water
Mhm.
cleansing you, and then of course you get creative in the shower. I love
Yeah.
long walks. I have to agree with that.
There you go. Cycling.
Creative
Same
thought.
thing.
Cycling.
I heard something this week scrolling on Instagram of all things. I have a lot of like neurodivergent reels that come across my feed, and somebody was saying some recent research has come up where they found certain types of brains will use lactic acid as fuel first over
Hmm.
sugar, and lactic acid is the byproduct of physical activity.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute. So, and they're saying that that's the reason why some people need to move in order to think clearly, because their brains want the lactic acid over just the glucose. I was like,
Yeah.
that's so cool. So maybe that's
so,
why.
so cool. Yeah.
And then you get a great idea and then you put it down with your own hand on the paper, which is amazing. And I feel like that is another connection. And that's what
Yes.
we use. Like I use my fountain pens, and it feels so freaking awesome when you do it.
And then
That's
it's like you
fantastic.
feel connected to the idea more than if you just typed it out. Like, oh yeah, I wrote this down. It's permanent.
Yeah.
It exists in the world outside of my head. It's like on our phones, does it really exist? I mean, yes, it does,
Yeah.
but it's different when you can touch it. I have a notepad here. And
Yeah.
you can see the words in the ink. You're like, okay, no, this is the first step to making it real. Is it's sort of real already because I wrote it down.
Yeah. Oh, that's so poetic when you say it exists in the world. Actually, I am going to put that on paper because I want to remember this.
I mean,
Very nice.
it does feel like it though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of metaphysical. It exists now. It's really good.
Sometimes you can
Really,
sketch
really
it
good.
out too to make it even more real.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you start to get the shape and the form, and then suddenly it's like, oh well, maybe I should like make it.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, it's sitting on your desk.
You were talking about making things, and like most of the artists, they actually touch stuff in order to create. Like you put your hands on.
Oh, yeah.
Writing is almost the same thing. You just need to touch and make it and do it.
Yes.
My husband is an engineer, so he creates with the computer. So imagine this person that is super logical and put everything on the computer, but then the subproduct of that, he has to create to make it work. He has to go hands-on with the circuits and everything. So, which is crazy. Everything is hands-on, it's a craft.
It is. And humans, I really do think we need to make. I think we are meant to make things. Maybe not art necessarily, but we like to get our hands on stuff, whether it's food or it's words or it's I don't know, something, plants. I think we do like to plant some things, and we're better for it.
Yeah,
inside
I need to put my hands in the garden. Now the snow fully melted, so we're getting excited about it.
Me too.
No more snow in Canada. Well, probably there is some snow up north, but in my area, all the snow is gone finally. But yeah, gardening. That's another thing that
vegetables.
I don't think I'm good with plants. Probably they will die.
Same.
I'm going to plant hostas because that lasts long and they are low maintenance.
I do have a dream. So we don't have our own garden, but once we do, I'm gonna try and grow a rhubarb. Like I grew up eating a lot of rhubarb.
Yeah.
And I want it, but I don't know if it's gonna grow in California. We'll see.
California is kind of the best weather for whatever. Like you can plant any fruit.
We have the microclimates, and that's the good thing I think also about like where I am in Berkeley is that I think if I find like shaded enough part of the garden, I should be able to.
Oh, okay.
What is your zone?
We're like up. I'll send it to you. We're like very like up north past San Francisco. So like technically we get a lot of fog in like the mornings and it gets like really cool. So I think it should be doable.
Now my sister's doing rhubarb this year and she's forcing it too, which I think is the coolest and weirdest thing ever. Where you cover it the entire time and it changes color on you. But she's up in New York, so hers is doing great. So
New York would do great. I know Alaska has a lot of it too.
Really?
But here, maybe we could partially grow it somewhere, but I don't know. Like definitely not like south for me. I don't think so.
Maybe in the winter. Maybe in the winter.
I don't know, but it needs to it's like bushes of it. It needs to live for a while. Like you're not gonna see anything for like I think first 3 years or 4 years, something like that. It's like very particular. So, we'll see. That's my challenge for myself for one day.
Yeah.
When you started, I want to follow.
Sure.
Sorry to go back to the other topic. There is a comment right there that says, I am an architectural designer and I miss those days hand-drawn plans. Oh my God, that's a dream.
That's very cool. Yeah, that's how I first kind of observed fountain pens because my dad used them for drafting because he was a draftsman.
Oh,
So that's where I was like observing. It was pencils, and sometimes it was, it was the fountain pens. And it's just like a magical thing on its own. And I don't know, you guys know like the perspective, like whenever you watch someone who's like very crazy into perspective, it's like it's mesmerizing. It's like
I
all
love it.
lines.
Yes.
One
So
and 2 point, you're like, oh my God.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like I am super not into rulers. So even though I like perspective, I really like the loose sketch feel of
Mhm.
an architectural draw.
No, for me too. But yeah, but like someone else following through so precisely
Oh,
that
the architect, all those beautiful blueprints. I adore. I would collect those as part of my journaling, like those arts that somebody else did, of course, not me, but so fantastic. I think they have this quality,
They do.
the perspective, the lines, the measurements, the scale, just perfect.
Yeah, there you go. You got a compliment. You do. You have
Thank
very
you.
nice
Yes.
pictures of
It's
store.
loose sketch, no ruler. It's just fun.
But it's the feel of the place versus we're not building it. So it's like there's
Oh,
two
yeah.
different ways of coming at it. And the feel of the place is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of using the fountain pens for art and for work and also for writing. So I think fountain pen is the best, I would say, tool, because we're fans of the fountain pen, that we can bring people together.
Yeah, it is. But also technically, I was trying to sell it to my friend the other day on my life card. And so she's an artist, but she has not really dipped her toes into it. But I think in my head, like fountain pen is the best because also the grinds, depending on the grinds and the stuff you can put so much on that nib.
Yeah.
So,
So
you can use it for so many things, I feel like, right?
yeah.
But also the customizability.
Mm-hmm.
Different ink colors.
Exactly. There is this teacher at my school, and he's the Italian teacher. So I am in one department, he's in another department. And one day, out of the blue, he comes to the office to look for another teacher. And somebody says, like there is another person that likes fountain pens. And I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know who's that teacher. So, I got the courage and the gut to ask him, hey, listen, somebody told me that you like fountain pens. And the guy pulled out lots and lots of Italian pens out of the
There you
case.
go.
Now I have a new fountain pen co-worker that I need to
Nice.
actually go and knock the door. Hey, let's bond around pens.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm excited already.
There is something about pen people, and I wouldn't have believed it until I got into pens, but people who like pens, I don't know, they're just a little bit different than people who don't necessarily like pens, because one, if they like pens, they probably like making things or writing things. So you're going to have something to bond with. They probably like things that work well or feel good. And so there's going to be that like, oh, well, you're going to appreciate this other nice thing. And so there's that kind of match, but also they're enthusiastic and they know it's kind of a goofy thing to be obsessed with.
Yeah.
But when you said, you know what, I love it, and I'm not going to apologize for loving it, I don't know, those are my people.
Exactly. I think aside from all the hobbies that people can get into, and I think everybody's kind of crazy somehow, and we're all crazy.
Right.
But how safe this hobby is?
Oh my God, not to your wallet.
Yeah.
Not the wallet, but
I was just rewatching one of the YouTubers from that stopped making. Oh, Pen Habit.
oh,
And yeah, because I was commenting and someone commented back, because I remember Pan Habit stopping making videos because partially he spent too much. And so I went back and sure enough, he apparently stopped making videos the first time because he spent like 20K in 1 year buying pens.
well,
Can't really judge
Yeah.
I think there is also a little bit of a consumism behind the
Yeah.
hobby that before you used to have like not a lot of people interested in the hobby. So it was like these super expensive pens out there that nobody can afford. And then the vintage pens. So it was kind of but now you get affordable pens, beautiful pens for
Right.
less price, and it's more accessible. A lot of people are getting into this hobby little by little. There is the journaling community getting into fountain pens. There is the art community getting into fountain pens. Like before, it was like, this kind of niche. And now the niche is still a niche, but
Mhm.
it's a little bit more flexible at the level of color and at the level of price too. So
Oh yeah.
some people can still write with fountain pen without breaking the piggy bank.
Yes.
And then, you can just go to your local pen club and just try out, the cool
Exactly.
expensive pens. I think my first time I went, and I was like, after that, I took a picture of the pens that were put in front of me and I touched, and it was like all Pelicans. And then I looked up the price after, and I literally was holding a $10,000 pen. Someone gave me that to hold, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna put that down now?
Yeah, that was an experience.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No, that's a good point too. People are buying the artwork. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you're about to. Yeah. Well, where's your new one? Can we see your new design?
I would have to go grab one if you give me 5 seconds.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. In your case, I'll be right back.
Because that's
The
artwork.
new one. The new ones are
It does
good.
right, technically.
Yeah. We like the fountain pen community. We love the people around the fountain pen. And of course, they are very generous. I have to agree with Suzette. We have generous friends, Suzette.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, that's amazing.
This
I
is
love
one of 5 with 5 more in progress. These are already spoken for. I'm waiting on the certificates of authenticity.
Wow,
And the cool part is the tops are like clear.
Oh, very
So it's
nice.
this veneer of resin over resin and close.
Such a beautiful pen.
That's the little thing in progress before it takes too long to make, but it's worth it. It's fun. But I mean, that's the art. The stained glass was the exact idea. That and chocolate enamel. But like, there are art pens. I remember seeing the Faro pen. Was it Monteverde? How it's pronounced? Or
Montegrappa had like sarcophagus. Yes. Yeah.
That one. I can never remember the name. It's like, why? And then I realized, it's art. It's the same reason, like you look at fashion shows. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine.
Designers and
But at that point, that's your canvas. This is you play with your materials, not you trying to create something functional. And so you have this full range in pens and like with any medium, it's like, okay, well, yes, sometimes it's just to write with. Like I have pens on my desk that are just to write with. And then there's the ones that are because I wanted to play.
Exactly.
The fact that it's a perk.
I think everybody's at the point that says, if I could afford it, and there is a comment over there that says, if I could afford it, I will get that. Of course. There are so
Good.
many dream
Yeah.
pens that I think they are on a good list. You know, this
Oh,
would be like, oh my God, the top level artistic pen. But again, if you want to have a collection of art and look at
Yeah,
the
and I
price,
think the one that he mentioned was also wooden body, and it's an
yeah,
interesting one. I often think about it. I don't like old wooden pens, but I think there might be one out there for me. But it's just like a very, very particular material. It's yeah. I'm just like, I love that people love it. And I was like, I want to be.
It's like the Urushi pens for me are my grail pens. Like if I could
yeah,
just
I have to agree.
the Rodden on, I'm just like I don't need it.
So
Don't need it. I don't need it.
Yeah, what pens would we buy if we won the lottery?
Oh my God,
There's
I
something.
think yeah, we talk about the Urushi, and now that you mention, I think Urushi lacquer, they have this art inside the pen, and the art takes months to create one piece. Months,
It's like
yeah,
6 months.
paint.
And then it's the abalone pieces that are set in one at a time. They're just like
Eggshells.
as an artisan.
Yeah, very artisanal oriented pen. I love Urushi. I love all, like, I think I like Mont Blanc, some of the special edition pens. I like Monte Grappa special editions pens. Those are masterpieces, you know, like the art
Mhm.
behind the design and everything.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
the marble Visconti, those are the Medici ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
the marble ones. Those are really beautiful. I think they are unique pieces, unique materials too. Like,
But
what
you know,
you
Kari,
have
what was interesting for me to learn was that Urushi has a very practical aspect to it
Oh yeah.
because it's protecting the pen. Like, you know, it's protecting your ebonite, usually
exactly.
ebonite body under there, from bleaching out, which is amazing. Which I was like, oh, now I get it. Because before that, for me, it did not really connect. I needed that practicality aspect. And then I
Yeah.
got it. And I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, it's really and the Urushi pens normally they are lightweight, you know, and I
Oh.
like that. Super lightweight, and even though they are super big, you can still feel like you're writing with a very light, feathery kind of a feel when you're writing. Tasha pens are beautiful. Namiki, they have beautiful pens. Sailor Urushi pens are
Can I show
insane.
you guys one of my favorites? Drop a link.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Ooh. All right. Can you
Oh,
send it to me and then drop it?
How do I send it to you?
Instagram.
Instagram. Okay, that's the fastest way of doing it. Here we go. Okay, so this is somebody I met through Blue Sky, and their work. If you go through some of their website, and it's actually a studio, but this is the gentleman that heads it, and his work
Danny
is just
Trio.
like,
Danny Trio, Trio, they have also beautiful Esti Dupont. Yeah, I agree. Some beautiful.
Yeah, Esti Dupont is. I mean, they
so
are
beautiful.
known for. I think they were making furniture before they started making pens. That was the idea, that you kind of transfer that lacquered body in the
Yeah.
furniture into.
Yeah, they are high end. They also do like the matching lighter, you know.
the second one I sent
Oh,
you, they started working on clear. They've been doing Urushi on clear.
Oh,
Oh,
thank you for sharing. I'm trying to open the. Oh, very beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah, beautiful stuff.
fantastic work.
and then was it Tamanuri in France is another one that I really like.
Yes.
Their Rodden work just makes my heart hurt.
Oh, very beautiful. How did you find this website and Matsuzawa Urushi Kobo?
Matsu's. I met them on Blue Sky, actually, to the fountain pen feed, and we
Oh,
followed each other back. Their work is like worlds beyond what mine is, but they're very generous with their time. Baby,
yeah.
why are you yelling at me? That is my cat.
The cat.
The teapots.
But they do a lot of commission fancy work with other big companies, but some of their pens are just beautiful. And when the wildfires went through and destroyed a lot of the Urushi forests recently, I guess it was beginning of this year, late last year, they were intensely involved with replanting.
Mm,
Oh,
that's
So
awesome.
that their feed is kind of interesting to follow.
Yeah,
You
no,
just get
I do kind of get behind also what you do, support people like who you like, just like from ethical standpoint as well.
right.
Right. Yeah. No, I feel like that's why, and we come back to this conversation we had with Kari a long time ago. She was not enamored with Mont Blanc. And I feel like a lot of people are not, right?
I still think
You
they
don't
are
feel that.
overpriced.
There you go.
I still think they are overpriced, especially those acrylic pens that are acrylic. Come on, acrylic pens, $2,000 acrylic pens.
Hey,
I mean, just maybe buy
special
one for
present.
me too.
Exactly, and they're machine.
They are CNC or injection molded, yeah.
Injection, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, I
But if it
didn't want
makes
to
you
say
happy.
it's plastic, black plastic pen.
I mean, this is plastic too.
No, but
But
I'm talking about black plastic pen
that's
versus
I do understand.
you're
Yeah.
mixing you're mixing your resin, you're mixing your colors, you're putting the vitrile feel.
And that's when it starts. It's not just a functional item. It is the art and the experience and the story behind
And the
the pen.
craftsmanship.
It is. And I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine today about how we don't always buy things or support things because it's a good thing. We want a good thing, but it's because the story is something that reflects our own values.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, the story behind the brand or the item, or we value the same thing the person who made it values. There's that camaraderie, that connection that more and more people are seeking out. I'm finding, especially since COVID.
Right.
The distaste for big impersonal corporations is becoming more and more of a thing. I'm finding.
Yeah.
So
I think, yeah, artisan and artist created stuff. Like I've seen like huge comeback. And I think there's individual side to it that you mentioned, that just people are not really into big overconsumption as much anymore.
Mhm.
But there's also this, I feel that individuality is what they're seeking, you know? Because like
yes.
if you buy everything on Amazon and it's all the same,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's not, the thing doesn't have any significance. Like, why are you buying this? Why are you going to take care of it? Why is it going to take up space in a life that's already full, already busy, already doom scrolled? What draw does it have? What emotional connection do you have to this item?
Yeah.
Like, how does it make you feel more human and more alive? And I'm hearing from more and more people how this is a thing they want now.
Yeah.
So,
I believe, for example, that there is in the fountain pen community, you have the big brands that nobody can compete against. Let's say they have the name, they have the budget, they have the space to create those ones. They have the employees and they have the marketing behind them.
Yeah. And there's still quality. Without a doubt, there's still quality.
But they have people actually testing and doing all the things. They have it's a big,
and a lot of times it's old companies. That's the thing. Like I actually like Mont Blanc nibs specifically, but again, it's a company that has been founded as a writing instrument company in what 1910, 1912, something like that.
That history.
So they've been with it. They are actually very trustworthy. Like if we don't talk about, the black pen body, everything else about it, I mean, it's great.
Exactly.
So
And
they have a
then,
system.
Yeah,
and
they're
then
good
you
company
have
overall.
the artisans. You have the artisans. So how can this small company and this one person or two people company compete with these big brands? Impossible. So you go for the art and the craftsmanship that takes an artisan to create a pen versus the big brand. And there are good aspects on both of those.
Oh,
I'm a fan of
I always say it's
Santini.
not like you stop buying the big brands because I continue buying those ones. But for every big brand pen that I get, I try to get a small one.
Yeah.
Just to get the hobby going.
I agree with
for
you
both
completely.
sides.
That's the thing, and that's why I love Abigail's stuff. I love Santini, super tiny little,
Tiny.
little tiny place that makes stamps its own nibs, and it's such a great value. Just like everything, like both Abigail creates, they create, and it's just like, yeah, it's just they're gonna think twice before they raise a price, for example, or they're gonna communicate that to you in a manner that Montblanc is not going to, because it doesn't have to.
Right.
They don't
But
need
each one has a place.
Yeah. They already have the name. They already have the store. They already have their reputation. I always say that. That's
totally
irrefutable. But now I think the best part about this one, that there is room for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
So, and you can actually have fun with pen makers' pens that are super amazing and colorful and sparkly, and I
have both on my desk, and some unnamed pens from other countries as well. I mean, there's a place for them all, honestly. For me, I run into when people are like, no, there's only one way to do it. I'm like, no. There's as many ways to do it as there are people.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the best part about this. I think the support. Somebody says you need to support big brands and support small makers. There is no rule for anything. If you like something, it doesn't matter.
Right with what you like.
Exactly.
So this comment we're seeing right now, get to a pen show and buy from small makers, actually leads me to the last part of our show that I wanted to start by asking you as a participant, like your point of view of shows, like how does it feel just being there, being able to sell?
Shows are a wild ride. I only do one show a year, so I'm not even an experienced show. Like, I have friends who do multiple shows, and I don't know how they do it. But the chance to get out and meet people who maybe, like, I've seen your username, but I've never actually met you. To be able to say, okay, let me explain this pen to you, because maybe they thought it was something else, or they couldn't see the color, or whatever it is. Just a chance to get out and hang out with other people who like what I like is awesome. Like, how often do you get to go to a pen convention? Like, that's what pen shows are. This is an entire gigantic ballroom full of people who like the same thing I like. There is no downside to this. As a vendor, to be able to finally go, here's everything. Look at it. It's validating and affirming, and to have people go, holy cow, this is so cool. I remember my first one, and it completely changed the way I looked at myself as a person and a pen maker. And I felt for the first time like I was part of a bigger community. So if you have a chance to go to a pen show, go, but do go to the events. Take some of the classes. Go to some of the parties. Talk to people. These people are friendly. They may be kind of nerdy and kind of quiet, but once we start talking,
some of them are not that quiet.
But to be able to go and just be like, look, I made the thing. And
Yes.
it's one thing if I can be like, pen. And it's another if I can hand it to you and then I get to tell you the story and you get to feel it and I get to point out the little details in a way you can't do in an Instagram post or a video. And then you can be like, okay, let me show you this one. And then I get to see pens. I was across the aisle from Mike, vintage pen dealer, this last Orlando pen show. I mean, it was killing me not to be able to just like live at his table to see the vintage pens. Because I love vintage pens. And it's just like there's something about being in a room full of people who love the same thing you do that when you've kind of been on the nerdy fringes your whole life, it's a really good feeling. Like you're suddenly part of a community that wants you. And they're like, come to the dark side.
Yeah.
We have pens. I'm
we-
sober, so I will talk sober.
Yeah, but some probably that's the only time they get to taste whiskey, Kari, or scotch or whatever.
the story that will transcend the universe, my experience with the fountain pen community and alcohol.
Oh no.
I am bad. But anyways, I can be sober and funny and without the need of alcohol. But when you're sharing a whiskey tasting at Chicago Pen Show, everything goes
Is
wrong.
that why you didn't go? Was that the real reason you're not going there?
Yeah. Done for another day. But I think at any time people they start super shy and they feel like, oh my God, everybody. But once you sit on a table and everybody's kind of show and tell, everybody's so talkative after. And yeah, I think that's the best part about the fountain pen community, that you get people from all different backgrounds and everybody's bonding like they know each other forever.
I mean, everybody's this is our shared special interest. Let's bond over it.
Yeah. So I get to see, I've never been to down south in the US. So I've been to New York, I've been to DC Pen Show. That's that's the lowest I went in the map. Well, I went South America, but in the US, I need to go visit you. I need to go to the Orlando Pen Show. Maybe even when is it? I need to
September,
actually
right?
see because
It's September 11th-ish, I think. It's 4 days this year.
ooh,
So
it's
it's
a lot.
big. That's
we
a
added a
lot.
day this year. So it's Friday. There's the VIP party on Friday. You have to get the VIP passes to get in that. Worth going. You get the special pens, prizes, pizza, all the gossip. Just saying.
Yeah.
Then it's Saturday. No, it's only 3 days, not 4 days. Saturday. 4 days because we pack and leave Monday.
Mhm.
And then Sunday is a half day. It goes until like 1 this year. But Saturday is the big day. Saturday is
Huge.
busy. Yeah, or is it Thursday is the VIP party and then it's Friday? I can never remember. I just know it's a long weekend that's worth doing and we come home exhausted. But
You need a vacation from the show.
we started planning this week.
Oh, that's so cool.
All right.
So,
So,
but-
what
Right.
are you planning on pen wise? Like, are you going to be setting some stuff aside and making specifically for the show, or how do you usually, how your brain kind of goes that way?
So this year we have 3 tables, which is the max you can get as a vendor.
Oh,
So that is a lot of
Huge.
tables. Usually we bring about anywhere between 50 and 100 pens. And that varies between like the fidgets, the babies, the Saturns, the retrogrades, the art pens. I'm trying to bring the full 3 tables this year. We're reworking the layout just a little bit to be able to feature some of the art pens. The Orlando.
we're talking Orlando.
Orlando.
It is one of the maker heavy pens. So if you like independent makers, that this
And
is
you
I
said
think
you're close.
we had
you said it's in
84.
yeah, down south.
So yeah, I think 24 independent makers last year.
Nice.
There is a raffle so the makers can donate a pen to benefit Reef Relief, which is a charity for redoing coral reefs. You can bid silent style and then win the favorite pen. And the winner of the popular vote gets their tables next year. But so there's free pens involved, or discount pens. There's prizes at the VIP party that get given away. But like I said, there's a ton of makers. There's art supply stores. There's, I think Pilot comes out as well. So there's some of the big companies out too. But it's a fun show. I've heard that it's one of the more warming, welcome, like everybody is your bestest friend at this show.
Oh.
My experience is like, I've never made more friends in public than at the Orlando Pen Show. Like, people come up to you and they're now your best friend and you don't know their name. And it's fantastic.
Suzette's coming, so you know her name.
Suzette is going.
I'm terrible at names. Just be like, we talked. Be like, great.
Yeah.
Yes.
And wait, so you won the raffle last time, if I remember correctly, right? So that's how
So
you got tables.
I donated to the silent auction popular vote. So everybody who buys a ticket to the show gets to vote. Oh, okay. I would need to see your face then.
Yes.
I would probably remember you.
I saw you last year.
But so all of the makers have the option to donate a pen. We don't get paid for these pens. We give them free and clear. I donated a baby in Aurora, which is a sort of a transparent blue shimmer. And then everybody who gets a ticket to the show gets to vote on their favorite. It's right as you walk in the door, you pick your pen, you vote. And you actually can like pick them up and look at them. They have people there to show you the pens. The person who wins the popular vote gets their tables free next year.
Nice.
So we do technically, if you win, you get a perk. So there's an incentive to like go all out on the pen you donate. Just saying. But there's a silent auction, and all proceeds from the silent auction go to a charity helping rebuild coral reefs.
Nice.
Which is nice. Great, Suzette. That would be awesome.
Suzette will be there.
Smack me over the head.
Ooh, our friend Lori's here. Hi.
Lori.
But
Lori.
it's just a fun show. The parties are fun. There's after darks most night where you just get together and goof off. There's more prizes given away at those. Yeah,
so while you talk, I need to show, because Lori has not seen this pen. So Abigail here made this pen, Lori. It's freaking amazing. She makes everything except for the nib. So
I was doing the aluminum tonight for the next batch of pens.
Yeah, this is so cool.
So cool.
And I'm a big fan, and like she casts all of these herself. And this is the Impressionist Spring. And I got it because it's going to be my memory pen. I got it because my grandmother-in-law just passed away, and she loved the Impressionists. And so this is going to be my special pen to remember her by.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yep, this is why. And I love it.
Very nice. Yeah. Everything that you do.
She is
I'm
so
going
talented.
to actually have serious conversation with Suzette. So if she goes to the Orlando Pen Show, maybe she can get me a pen.
Ooh.
Or I'm going to send her back with ink.
Just
be like, side, shove it on the table, and we're like, just give this to Carrie.
I'm going to ask you, Suzette, and I'm going to say, let's go see my friend Abigail.
Ooh, what are you teaching?
Oh, nice.
Journaling. Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Okay, so there's 2 reasons to go.
I want to ask Lori, sorry to interrupt, but have you decided to go to the Chicago Pen Show? That's or you're still undecided?
Are you asking Lori?
Lori, yeah.
Okay. All right. So for those who just joined, Abigail also makes her own. So
Lori is going.
So get the ink up. We got it.
Yay!
Fantastic. Very
Oh,
nice. Yeah, I have booked already the DC Pen show, so that's in August. But then after my semester starts, so it's complicated for the September. That's why
Mhm.
when I ask you about the Orlando Pen show, it's in the middle of my semester. So
yeah.
I hope I can go.
If not, we'll have to send pictures.
All right, and then
Yeah,
Suzette is teaching journaling.
That
and
is
it's
cool.
100
Amazing.
pages. Let me show you. I want to show you what Suzette taught me in one of the workshops that she did at the.
Oh, that book.
This was a DC Pen show. So these are tunnel pages.
Oh, that's what it is. I love it. So it's like
How do they
really,
work?
It
it's
starts like with a little cat, like you have a frame, and then you have another cat here, and then you have like a small one there, and then you end up like, if you see, actually you cannot appreciate with this light, but you have like this dimension kind of like
Ooh.
between the pages. I don't know if you see.
awesome.
I
What
learned
day
that
is
with Suzette.
what day is the class for Orlando? That way, if people come and ask me, I can tell
Oh,
them.
yeah. So Suzette, super talented. I don't know how she does it. We met with Suzette the other night, both of us on Friday, just to do journaling at night. We connected. It was like, oh, let's talk, and then we both started like doing pages and stuff. She did like, I don't know how many projects in just a second, and I was like trying to figure out one. Uh, so talented.
Yeah, she's doing 2-day workshop.
Ooh.
It's going to
Okay.
be a big one.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Because I have people ask me, hey, do you have any classes that you recommend? Are you taking any classes? And I can be like, oh, you need to go make sure you take Suzette's class.
Yes, Suzette class is so amazing and so creative. By the way, Suzette, she's also provide all the material. So when you arrive to the event, most of the time, if you don't have a journal, she provides with a small booklet, and then people can get creative in the booklet.
Oh,
And
cool.
she provides some of the art supplies, so you can get the frames and you can get all those ones. It's really, really good.
Okay.
Publicity for Suzette.
Hey, we
Hey.
love the classes. It's how you meet
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Very
gonna
nice.
a lot going on in San Francisco. I haven't looked yet, but I think they're about to do all the stuff, I think now, all the planning. Because that's before your show. I think, yeah, it's like 2 weeks
It's
before your
right after, yeah,
Mhm.
right after DC.
Yeah,
It's
so
a busy
you're
schedule
looking.
because you get August, DC, then you get San Francisco, then there is the Orlando. There is a Japan show or something happening in between those two. And
It gets busy that last bit of the year.
but I think the magic of going to pen shows, I cannot get enough about telling people to go to pen shows.
Same.
Everybody needs to experience a pen show in their life.
If you like pens or paper or stickers, go.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Well, yes, I would love to meet you, Suzette. So it's going to be my very first pen show. So
Yeah.
I booked the hotel. I don't live too far, but I don't want to chance it. So I booked the hotel. I'm going to stay near the venue.
Yay.
So I can get in at like 6 a.m.
That's so cool. So cool.
Yeah.
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 Abigail,
Okay.
thank you so much for
Thank you
being
so
here
much.
with us. The
No, thank you.
co-host, because come on,
Yes, because
we don't have
Alexandra is so
Alexandra,
busy.
but we have Abigail.
I was like, wait, I'm a special host? Oh my goodness.
The
Felt special.
co-host, and Marina took all the administrative task of creating this meeting Yes.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for just letting me learn this because this is fun. I like hosting, but it's it's a learning curve.
Yes.
It was great to me. I just showed
Good.
up.
It's fantastic. And thank you all the people that actually stayed until this hour.
Amazing.
connected
Please
with us.
like and subscribe.
Yes.
Oh, wait.
And support.
This is going to work.
Thumbs up to subscribe. And Lori, she's teaching us.
Not working. I think I
And
turned
by
that
the
off.
way, all these people in the chat, they do have their own YouTube channels. Some of them, Carola, Julia, Lori. Lori has a podcast, The Juicy Broads, with Vanessa. So they
Yes,
are
they
podcasts.
do.
And Lori is a celebrity already. So
Mhm.
yeah,
We are
everybody.
honored.
All
All right, you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for
Bye.
everyone who tuned in.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.